Hi everyone, good morning. Hope you are all well and in good health. Today we will discuss about a very interesting data warehousing data modeling concept, that is rapidly changing dimension. Slowly changing dimensions and these SCD type 1, SCD type 2 and SCD type 3. This I have already covered in one of my tutorial. You can go ahead and watch that. Today we will discuss about rapidly changing dimension. What is rapidly changing dimension, first of all? When we discussed about slowly changing dimension, we identified the attributes which are which can change slowly over the time, like a person's address or it depends on the situation. Address can be a slowly changing dimension or a rapidly changing dimension as well, depending on the job or other things. Maybe marital status is a good example of slowly changing dimension, because we are not expecting that a person's marital status is getting changed very rapidly. That is not expected. So there are many columns which are slowly changing over the time, and we have modeling mechanisms, SCD type 1, SCD type 2 and SCD type 3, to handle them in a data warehouse. But what about those attributes which are changing rapidly over time, like someone's income band, someone's age? So for age, again, we can calculate it yearly, we can calculate it 10 yearly, like 20s, 30s, 40s, something like that. We can have a separate date dimension and join with that, because we have this concept of role playing dimension, confirm dimension, and date dimension is basically a very good candidate of this. But we will check on this. Today's topic is how we model and identify the issues with dimensions which are rapidly changing, or basically for a particular dimension, the attributes which are very rapidly changing. So now we have actually two approaches on this part. And this rapidly changing dimension is also called as SCD type 4. So whenever someone in interview asks you like what is SCD type 4, don't get confused. SCD type 1, 2 and 3, they talk about slowly changing dimension, but SCD type 4 is basically rapidly changing dimension. There are two ways of modeling uh, uh, SCD type 4 or rapidly changing dimension. And I will show that in a few minutes. First, I will discuss what are the two ways in broadly. So first way approach is you separate the current table and the history table. So if you have a customer dimension, what you do is there should be a current table which will have all the customer attributes of the current state, and there should be an history table which will have all the historical data with start date, end date, and everything. So, uh, 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 suppose the customer's address is changed. So, what you will do in the current table, you will follow SCD type 1 approach and update the customer's address to the current address. You won't keep any history there. You will add that previous record of, like, the customer's previous address with start date, end date, and everything in the historical table. So the benefit over SCD type 2 is, in SCD type 2 you keep the history, the entire history in the same customer dimension table. Now think about a fact, like when these details are huge, and your customer base is huge, and these details are also changing very frequently, your customer table is actually getting huge. So basically whatever report you will run, that will get slower. So if you segregate these two, current table and historical table, then you might be having lots of reports, lots of other transactional things which can be done on the current details only. So that time you don't need to join the history table. And if you need to join the history table for any historical purpose, you have the history table and you can get those analytical reports. So that is a benefit of SCD type 4. This is the modeling approach 1, separating the current table and the historical table. There is also another approach where you identify the attributes which are rapidly changing and the attributes which are stable over the time or slowly changing. and you create a main dimension table. Suppose if you are talking about customer, then a main customer dimension table where you have the stable columns or the slowly changing dimension columns, and you create a mini dimension table basically, where you keep all the rapidly changing columns. And you will definitely have a linking column between that. So basically, you can do it in either way. You can have the customer ID in your mini dimension table, or another approach is you can have a demographic dimension key in the mini dimension table and have it as a foreign key in your main customer dimension table. So I will discuss the benefit of both of them and when to use what. So I am sharing my screen. So this is my screen. Now I will discuss this later. So this is, suppose this is your customer dimension. Sorry, dim customer. Okay. Now customer ID is your primary key here, right? Then customer name is there, and obviously a person's name won't change every day. Person's ID, obviously we are not changing. The address won't change every day. It can, it may not, can also, it may not also. The marital status won't change every day. So so I am discussing how you keep this. I mean the modeling approach one, where you basically segregate the current table and the historical table. Okay. So this is your current dimension. You can call it current. And what is your historical table then? The same things will be repeated. The only thing is, sorry, the only thing is you will have customer address, suppose start date, end date. Okay. You can also have marital status here. You can have one particular row where address and marital status was some one thing, and start date, end date. You can combine it basically. You can also have address start date, address end date, marital status start date, marital status end date. That is basically how you want to design. So, but the main point is whenever a new data is coming. So suppose my address got changed. I was in Kolkata, now I am moving to Bangalore. So what will happen? In this current table, this current address will change to Bangalore in SCD type 1 format, where we just update this and don't keep the history. And my previous history, which was Kolkata, that will be populated here with current date and end date. And if you remember the SCD type 2, there we have only one table where we keep all of this. So the benefit is here your dimension table is not getting very huge. If you have many reports, like many transactional things, you need to send a courier to that customer or any customer communication. In that case, you can only use this table. And if you need any historical details, then you can obviously use this table. You don't need to always join or query on a very huge table. Now, what is modeling approach 2? Modeling approach 2 is approach 2 that you have a main dimension table and you have a mini dimension table. Okay. Now, main dimension table will have all the columns which are stable over the time. So here I am considering maybe, wait, marital status. And obviously, the customer address also can be a slowly changing dimension. Maybe mobile number, because that is not changing over the time. Email ID, that is also not changing very frequently over the time. So this is my main dimension table, right? And mini dimension table is where I identify the, first of all, we have to identify the rapidly changing columns. What can be that? Income band, age, maybe CIBIL score. There can be many other things. And here, there are again two ways to link them. One is if you want to have everything, this mini dimension at customer level, then you can basically have this customer ID as a foreign key here. Okay. This is approach again inside this approach too. This is one way of linking these two. Then you will have this mini dimension table. Every row will be linked to one row of this customer dimension. Okay. And in your fact table, there will be the customer ID, and obviously other facts. So basically, in a scenario where suppose you are a bank, right? You are doing the data modeling for a bank. So for a bank, sending this any couriers like your checkbook, passbook, or any communication, you need only this main dimension table. But whenever the customer is coming for any loan, or you are going to give any discount, any credit card, these kind of thing, then you need this mini dimension table, because you need this income band, you need the CIBIL score for loan, you need the age for loan. Then you can go ahead with this dimension table. I mean, link them. And you are having this every record at a customer ID level. So basically, for one customer, you are actually checking what is the income band, age, CIBIL score, and you can also have dates here, and you are doing the steps. The other way is, I mean, think about a fact for a bank. If you want to provide loans, provide credit cards, provide specialized discount, many other schemes, then rather than having this mapping at a customer level, you will be trying to have this as a block level. Suppose, what are the age group of the customers of this income band, high income band, then it will be maybe giving a tailored service to them, a credit card to them. What are the CIBIL scores of the customers of this age group? So here, if you think like, if you make it customer ID, this previous approach, then you are having this customer's income band, age, CIBIL score, exact score, and then the dates when it is changing and everything. But if you do it like in a block level, then you need to have a demographic key, basically demographic dimension key. Okay. And that key can be a combination of income band, hash of combination of income band, age group, maybe those things. And these demographic key you will be having here as a foreign key. The benefit is when you are thinking at a customer level, you want to have reports like for this customer, when his CIBIL score was highest, you want to give some specific service to them, loan rate to them, whatsoever. In that case, you are joining this customer table with this mini dimension table based on demographic key, and you are getting all of these things. Now, also, your bank might be having another sorts of reports for your business team, where they want to see what are the what are the CIBIL score or purchase ability for a customer in 20s, in 30s, in a particular income band, high income band, low income band. Then you don't need to join this customer table, because in that case you are not really doing any operations on customer's name or marital address or mobile number. You don't need all of this. You need the customer's block, I mean a block level uh, combination, basically a group by thing. If you do it on a table, it will be group by income, age, those things. But in the mini dimension table, if you have a demographic key, which is basically a hash key of one or more of these columns hash, then you can have this hash key in your demographic key in your fact table also. And based on this demographic key, you can basically get this analytical reports. right? So you solve both of the purpose. So these are the basically two approaches of SCD type 4 or modeling the rapidly changing dimension. And in the approach 2, again you have two ways to determine what will be my primary key in the mini dimension table, or how it will be linked. Whether we want to make it a customer level each record, we will have customer ID here and uh, like match it like that, or we want to have a non customer specific or non dimension specific mini dimension table where we have the common block level things, so that in my fact table customer ID is also there. I can have customer related analytical reports also. I have demographic dimension key also, where I can get block level analytical reports also. And if you think about another fact, your CIBIL score is not really dependent on your name, on your mobile number. It is dependent on your income band, or maybe your credit history. Another such column is credit history, which you can have it in your mini dimension table. And credit history is something that also changes every time. You had long pending loans where you are not paying the EMIs, your CIBIL score will be down, credit history will be bad. But if you just repay them, that will be again come up. So these also changes rapidly. Then with there is also a correlation with age. Over the time, with age, people have more income, their CIBIL score increases. It is dependent. With income band, these things are dependent. So basically, this demographic key is something which is a hash of one or more of this, right? So all of these columns are dependent somehow with the demographic key, and not with your actual name or marital status or those things. So in that way, if you think, then this approach is better to have. Better means when you have both kind of things, you need analytical reports as a customer level also and as a block level also. This approach looks better to me. But again, it is all dependent on your scenario, what kind of reports your business team needs and what kind of data you are having. So hope you like this tutorial, and if you have any questions you can let me know. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe and motivate me. Thank you all. Goodbye.